Hello and welcome to The Rest is Football. I'm Gary Lineker, and with me, our dynamic duo of Alan Shearer and Micah Richards. Right then, on to this weekend. Before we get to the football, Alan, I believe you had a quite eventful journey back to Newcastle yesterday.
Gary, Micah, I had an absolute disaster. I sat there thinking you two would love this. I was at a friend's wedding in Italy, in Perugia. And we came back on the flight on Saturday, and we had to wait in the lounge for about 4.5 hours before the flight up to Newcastle. Oof. We'd been sat there for 3 and a bit hours, and it comes up on the board: flight to Newcastle 6:25, cancelled. Honestly, I was absolutely fucking raging. So they said, you're going to have to go to guest services. So I go to guest services. They then send me down to gate 17, where they say you're going to have to make sure that there's no other options. There were 2 other flights that evening, no spaces on them. So I'm thinking, So by this time they've automatically booked me on a flight for today, Sunday afternoon at 2:30. Thinking, no, I've got to get home. It's my son's birthday. Newcastle are playing at home. So all of a sudden, me and all our friends and whatever who were with us were all scrambling, thinking, what can we do? What can we get? A hire car? What do we do? So we end up, hire car was no good, whether we were going to drive up to Newcastle. So we got a friend. We look on the website at LNER to get the train back from King's Cross, and there's no trains, all fully booked. And then one train becomes available at 7:30. So we've got 90 minutes to get from Heathrow to King's Cross. So we get on the Heathrow Express. We then get off at Paddington. We get on the tube from Paddington to King's Cross. I was thinking, oh my God, honestly. And there was a lovely lady from LNER, my friend Peter, his wife, had a contact, and she was waiting for us. She said, there's hardly any seats spare on the train, but I'll do my very best for you. I can't guarantee anything. She met us at King's Cross, and bless her, she got us enough seats, but there was no booked. She got us onto the carriage. She said, it's going to be really, really busy. I said, oh, really? She said, because this is the only train. There's one train on a Saturday night. So she said, unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of football fans on. So I'm sat. I said, well, okay, at least I'm on the train. So and I'm not in first class. We're in coach C, and I look at it and I think, oh my fucking God, Sunderland have played Portsmouth away.
Oh
no! So I've got my cap on, and I'm wedged in the corner on coach C, the first seat, and on they come, and it's getting busier and busier, and there's not one seat spare. The whole of the aisle is taken up with Sunderland fans singing, pissed. They've all come in with their bottles of beer and their bags of whatever they've got, because there's no service. They're within half an hour. I can't even lift my head up. I'm scared to lift my head up because I'm thinking it's just full of them, because they're all in great mood. Their team's won, and they start singing the Newcastle songs. Then they start singing the Shearer songs. Shearer, Alan Shearer, oh, what can it mean to a sad Geordie, whatever it is. And I can't even sing the other song that they were going to sing. I had nearly 4 hours. My neck is killing me today. I couldn't lift my neck up. I had my head down for nearly 4 hours. No. I was petrified. I got all the way to Newcastle, and I'm thinking, please let them all get off at Durham. Half of them got off at Durham, but half of them stayed on to Newcastle, and I was petrified getting off the station. There was not one person who recognised me. Didn't move at all for nearly 4 hours, and I never got spotted once. And they just sang and abused me for nearly 4 hours. And they didn't even know I was on the train. My friend Peter said to me, "Al, why don't you go and walk through the middle of them, asking if they want a drink?" So my Saturday was sat on a train for 4 hours, on tubes, on Heathrow Express, on flights. It was an absolute nightmare. So for all you Sunderland fans travelling back on Coach C, fuck you. I can hear you all.
And not only that, Eric Ten Hag called your analysis last week stupid.
Did he? At first time I've heard of this. What's...
Yeah. Did you know? There was a quote.
His press conference, yeah. So he said he didn't agree with the analysis and said it was idiot analysis or something
Idiot,
like that.
that was the word. Was it idiot, not stupid? But
stupid, one of the two, whatever it was. But yeah, look at their performance today and then see.
He will last longest.
I totally get it why he's trying to protect his player. He couldn't say anything different, but I think the truth be known at Man United, nothing much changes over the summer, has it? Certainly in the performances, what we've seen.
No, they were totally outplayed, really, weren't they?
Yeah, they got absolutely battered. Liverpool, it was like men against boys. They were awful. Liverpool were brilliant.
You know, that's why when we talk about stats at times, I've seen the stats after the game, and Man United had more possession. They had 3 big chances, even though they came after there was 3-0 down. So when you watch the game, or even if you're at the game, you always watch the game differently. But it was men against boys, wasn't it? I mean, I don't want to lump on United. I'm sick to death of criticising them. It's got to a place now where I actually feel sorry for them. That, you know, the fall from grace has been so big. I'm looking at the players out there, I'm thinking they need some leadership, they need some direction, and they've brought all the right people in behind, or upstairs, should I say, in the backroom staff and all that. It seems as though they're going in the right direction, but on the pitch, there are shambles out there. They're an absolute shambles, and I'm not just talking about mistakes, because everyone can make a mistake. So, granted that Arne Slot's team, he was left by Klopp, is a very good team, but you can also already see what he's trying to do.
See a plan
In terms of the tactical plan. It's a bit slower build-up. They want to play out from the back. They want to press high when they can. They're playing with a midfielder who's not a defensive midfielder in there, but is being disciplined. They've got top players all over the pitch that want to run as well, not only be good on the ball. And yeah, I feel for Ten Hag now, because it's almost like I've tried to give him excuses. He needs more time and all those sort of things, but he needs to change things. He needs to change things quick, because I can't see an idea, and it's been what is it 18 months, 2 years now. We need to see more.
Also, I think that maybe the transfer policy as well. He's brought in kind of a lot of players, I suppose, that he knew from his Ajax days, and that's not really worked so far.
Yeah,
I know it's too early to say with De Ligt, but I mean he struggled a bit as well.
Yeah, and they've got Ugarte here to come in the middle as well, haven't they? Which you would hope that he would, because that is a position where I think they're really vulnerable in the middle of the park and midfield. Is that he's going to have to come in and do a big job in there, because when they lose the ball, they're just wide open. It happened at Brighton last week.
Yeah, is that down to the tactical approach though, rather than perhaps the personnel?
Yeah, I mean, Micah said it there, and I thought Jamie Carragher absolutely nailed it in his commentary today when he said something similar to what Micah's just said. Arne Slot's been in there, 6-7 weeks? And already you can see, I know he's got a good team, but already you can see what he's trying to do. Yet, I just keep seeing the same things with Manchester United, week after week after week.
Was it the first goal, Gary, when Man United are trying to build up, and we see the football that Man City play, Arsenal play, and even Liverpool play. But you've got two of your fullbacks, Mazraoui and Dalot, basically out the picture when your midfielders receiving the ball. Like, I know you want to get your fullbacks high and spread them wide so you can open up the pitch so you can play out from the back. That's the whole point in doing that. But they're not ready for that yet. They need to start with the basics and build up the confidence. You do that when there's confidence within the camp and you know all the rotations and all the positions. It's almost just like Man United have got very good players. And I won't have anyone tell me any different. But they're not a team, are they? They've got good individuals. They've got good players. And Alan's mentioned it. Ugarte to come in as well. De Ligt, I'm sure, will find his feet. at some stage. But in terms of what they're doing, they're just playing for themselves. It's weird to see.
It does look like a team that doesn't know what their jobs are. They don't know what their jobs are on the pitch, or maybe events in the game, because they actually started reasonably well. But you could see the spaces, and obviously mistakes happen as well. But when they do, they're very vulnerable, aren't they? As you said, we said so many times last season, the amount of space in midfield. Casemiro makes an error, obviously, for the first goal, first two goals, really. So you just think, how do they change it? What does he do? Just does go back to basics and just plays a little bit more safely.
I thought that a lot of the times we've seen Man United play their best football against the bigger teams, in terms of, because the counter-attack sort of suits them. That's what I think that's their makeup, isn't it? At times where teams like to press and then they can hit them on the counter-attack. But what we saw last week against Brighton, when they lose possession, not closing down quick enough, not getting to stopping the crosses, 3 men in the box. And again, that happened today when Casemiro gave the ball away. I mean, they are so open, it's just incredible. And when you've got really, really good players, which is what Liverpool have, then they're going to punish you. I mean, it should have been 5 or 6. They got away with it, really.
The only thing you would say, though, we've played in teams, all of us, and your midfielder gives away the ball. But one mistake, he shouldn't be punished as well. If it was a goalkeeper mistake or a defender, centre-half, and someone just tapped it in, but you've still got time to recover. So, of course, it was Casemiro's fault. It was a bad pass. But where's the rest of the team? So you're telling me you make one mistake and you concede a goal. You have to regroup and defend as a team. And I think that's the damning thing for Man United at the moment is, like, if they make this mistake, they get punished for it. Well, what are they doing in training? If Casemiro was to give away the ball here, and the two centre-halves coming closer together, where are our full-backs? Where's Mainu in correlation to Casemiro in terms of their movement? Is one going? Is one staying? Where's Fernandes? Is he going further up the pitch to take Liverpool's midfielders away from the middle of the park so Casemiro can have time and space on the ball? But he loses the ball and then it's a goal. It's just... I'm watching it and I'm frustrated, and I don't like blaming individuals because I don't really think it's fair. Or granted, on that particular occasion, it was his fault, but that's where you need your teammates to bail you out of trouble. And no one's bailing anyone out of trouble, ever.
I think the whole thing about playing counter-attacking football, and I think we talked about it last week, about how it's hard for a club like Manchester United to be consistent in their style of play if they're playing counter-attacking football, because a lot of the teams that play against Manchester United will want to sit themselves. So it's hard to have a plan that you play week in, week out. And the other thing, the idea of being a counter-attacking side, if you like, particularly which you would expect they could play against Liverpool, which they did at times, is that the one thing you have to be, though, is defensively sound and really well organised to be able to, like, break teams down, to win the ball and then counter really quickly.
Yeah, I think in terms of the Community Shield, I thought they did all right, and certainly were in the FA Cup final. I thought, yeah, okay, there's sort of little signs there. But I know they beat Fulham in the first game, but they weren't that convincing. But no, there's a lot of work to be done there in the 3 league games that I've seen, and including the one that they won.
I think the problem that Ten Hag has got is at Man United, and they want to play attacking football, but they've not got the team and the players he wants at the moment probably to play the way he wants to play. You can win games by playing defensive. Look at Simeone at Atletico Madrid. Granted, it's a different league. But in the Champions League, you can win football matches like that. And I think if you're going to approach a Liverpool game, that was how you would approach it, because they press high. But in terms of what they're showing now, it's gonna be difficult because not only that, you can see the confidence starting to sort of go from the players where, and Rashford put in a couple of very good balls to Xerxes, but at times players who would normally be in positions where they would try and dribble past players or make a killer pass, they're just playing a little bit safe, and when that happens, you've got a big problem.
I think we should also say that Liverpool were very good. I mean, as you quite rightly said, under Arne Slot, they've made a really good start, slight change in style, but I mean, they played some really good football at times, some excellent stuff, and they were really, really good.
They've got some firepower, haven't they? I mean, they were really aggressive in the tackle, really aggressive in terms of when they were passing it in forward positions. Pretty tight at the back, and every single player seemed to be at it. And when you've got that firepower that they've got, then you give the ball in the positions away that they did, Man United. They've got the ability to hurt you, and that's what they did. I mean, they really could have been out. I know it was 3, but second half, I mean, Szoboszlai missed an absolute sitter where he tried to be a bit cocky, didn't he, instead of just hitting it. And they missed another couple. So Liverpool were absolutely outstanding, weren't they? They were brilliant.
But look what they've got from the bench as well. They've just signed Chiesa, who I think's outstanding. I know he likes to play at left hand side, cut on his right, former Fiorentina player, of course. You've got Gakpo, who had a brilliant Euros, and you've got Darwin Núñez, who comes in and runs about. Going forward, Liverpool have got an array of talent, and I think they're serious now about challenging for the title. I wanted to see, and the reason why I say that is because last season they were close and no one really expected it, but now they seem a little bit more disciplined defensively, and they've got firepower up front. So yeah, I think they're challengers now.
Yeah, such an impressive start for Arne Slot, because they have huge boots to fill as well. I mean, I know it's only 3 games, but you know that's quite a statement to win at Old Trafford by 3-0, even though obviously United have got their problems. Mo Salah looks electric sharp, back to his absolute best. He scored 10 goals in 9 appearances at Old Trafford in all competitions. I've got it written here. He's only the second player to score 10 plus goals at a single away ground for Premier League clubs since 1992-93, after Alan Shearer, who got them. Which ground, Al?
Gonna have to say, is it Leeds, Ellen Road?
Yes.
Was it
10?
Yeah.
You got 10 there at Ellen Road. You're lucky ground.
Well, Haaland's catching you on your hat tricks, though, isn't he? He got another one, which we'll talk later on.
We'll definitely come to that. We'll definitely come after you told him last week he wouldn't get that far. And he didn't take. I know you'd said it in jest, but he's remarkable. We'll come to that. But did you see the Mo Salah interview at the end?
I did.
Talking about his future, which he made the suggestion that he thought that'd probably be his last appearance at Old Trafford, but he said it's in Liverpool's hands. But I mean, I don't know whether he's playing games, but he's obviously only got a year left. He'll be on a free. He'll be very much sought after. He'll get a big deal. So it's going to take a lot, I think, probably for Liverpool to keep him.
Yeah, I was. I mean, that was his words, wasn't it? In my last season here, and in my eyes, okay, so he's resigned to that. I mean, he's looks as sharp as he has done for a long, long time. So in terms of the attitude, there's never ever going to be a question mark against that. So it was really interesting from him. I mean, he's in his last year. Trent's got a year, and Virgil van Dijk's got the year, which we've mentioned. To have 3 of your big hitters getting into the last year, and obviously with those 2, Van Dijk and Salah, in their 30s, in terms of fitness wise, they look very strong and very sharp, don't they?
It's something I guess as a football club they've really got to address, haven't they? If they possibly can, because obviously it's up to the players as well.
Yeah, I think he's gonna stay. I think there was an opportunity for him to go. Was it last year? I think Saudi rumoured to take him. Obviously, Mane went out to Saudi. I just think what's the point in selling him? He's in the best shape of his life. He's ripped. He still works hard. He still changes games. The difference, and for as much as we give Liverpool praise, the difference today was probably Salah in the big moments, whether it was a pass or whether it was his goal, he just gets it right. And I just think he's 32, I believe.
Won't sell him though, will it, Micah? He'll walk away for nothing. If he
No,
leaves
but
on
I think he'll sign a new deal.
Right.
I think he'll sign another 2 years. I don't think Liverpool can let him go for a free, especially with the shape he's in.
It's up to Salah, that is, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think they'll convince him to. You know, new manager. They want to see how it's going and what the plans are. But you can tell he's very much in his plans going forward, isn't he?
What a player, man! He's
so good.
Top,
consistent,
top.
Yeah,
consistently brilliant. Absolutely. You go to the Newcastle game, didn't you, Al? I thought you got a bit lucky.
Slightly fortunate, yeah. I think Tottenham wasn't convinced with them in forward positions, other than Son. Really, I thought they really struggled. I mean, they had Kulusevski down the middle in the first half. I changed it. Son went down the middle. Brennan Johnson came on. Timo Werner came on. Yeah, they created chances, got into some really good positions, and Newcastle probably scored both goals against the run of play. Had a decent start to the game, but I suppose it's a good sign in a way that not played
7
well
points.
yet. Yeah, two wins and a draw without really playing particularly well into the next round of the Carabao. So Fabian Schär to come back in. I think it was really, really poor that they didn't manage to get the transfer that everyone wanted over the line. I said last week it wouldn't reflect well on the sporting director or the chief executive, and I still say that. So for Newcastle to do well this season, they're going to have to be really, really fortunate with injuries.
What's going on at Newcastle though? In terms of their plan going forward, because I remember we joked and we talked about them challenging for the league. They got into the Champions League, which was great for them last season. But what is the direction? I sort of don't know where they're at, in terms of financially. Can they buy players? 1 minute it sounds like they can, but then they haven't. And then they might have to sell one of your big hitters to reinvest and go again. I don't quite know what's going on,
Well, they put huge bids in, didn't they, for Mark Gahey? So obviously they have the finance to go out and buy someone. Why that deal? Well, I guess that they just didn't offer enough. They didn't feel as if he was worth the 70 million or whatever it was that Crystal Palace wanted. So there's obviously finance there. I don't know. I haven't. Do you know what? It's what I don't understand nowadays is, and what I'd like to see change is. And not only at Newcastle, with every football club, because we're now seeing more and more, it's coaches, isn't it, rather than managers. We're now seeing more and more sporting directors or chief executives or whatever who are buying the players for the coach. Yet, we're seeing the coach having to come out and explain all these decisions. And sometimes the coach hasn't got a clue what's going on. I mean, Eddie said it himself this week. He didn't really know. So I would like more sporting directors or whoever is making the decisions to then come out and explain and say how it is or what it is, because I don't think it's fair on the coach all the time to front up every single week and having to answer questions which they don't know the answers to.
Yeah. I wonder how much the coach has a say on transfers, and I suppose it varies at different clubs, but I mean, if you're the guy in charge of the team, you're the guy in charge of the selection, you're in charge of the tactics, you need to have a say in the players that you bring in, because they've got to fit into your system. Now, I'm sure a lot of them do. I listened to, while we're on the Tottenham Newcastle game, I listened to Ange Postecoglou last week saying, I have the final say. And you can see that with the type of players that they've brought in, but I'm not sure that's the case at
Not
many
at all
clubs.
I wouldn't say that's the case.
I think the reason why this happens, where people above are taking control, is because the manager would come in want a load of players, his own signings, and then he'd leave after 18 months. I've got all these players. New manager would come in and say, these are the players, I don't want these, I didn't buy them. And then there's players who are on big wages, you can't get rid of them. So I understand why clubs try to do it and have a identity, an ethos, a way of playing. So when they go in and looking at a player, the manager might say, yes, he fits what we're trying to do. Because if you look at someone like Brighton, they've got a 31-year-old manager. He's not making the decisions, but it fits into his philosophy in how he wants to play. So when he's been interviewed for the job, he says, do you fit into our DNA? This is what we want at Brighton. This is how we want to play. And they'll pluck him from whatever they've done the research on. So when they're looking for managers, that's why Brighton seem to be so successful, because they're all sort of rowing in the same direction. So I understand why people above are making decisions. But ultimately, for a club like Newcastle, who look to be just going one way forward at a rapid pace, then for them to not be able to get Gahey over the line, it's just a massive step back. And now you're looking at the season, and Alan's mentioned 7 points from 3 games. You'll take it. But really, Newcastle haven't played the football that they played last season, starting this season.
Especially, I think they failed the coach on this occasion in terms of a lack of activity in the transfer window. When you look at who Newcastle are up against and what they've done in terms of improvements to players, I don't see Newcastle being improved from last season to now, and everyone else has, which tells me that's why I said last week, just didn't get the feeling that all's well.
By contrast, Newcastle have got 7 points without really playing that well. Mm-hmm. By contrast, Tottenham seem to be playing really good football, but they've only got 4 points. I know it's early, and obviously Solanke, their big signing, got injured in the first game. But they do play some really good football. They are exceptional to watch. But if you're a Spurs fan, would you be a little bit concerned, Micah?
I wouldn't be concerned. I would be frustrated is more the word I would use. I think in terms of wide areas, Al mentioned it before, Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, getting some really good positions. Odobert, I thought he played really well last week, not so well in today's game. Solanke gets injured, Van der Ven picks up a little injury. I just think they're just nearly there, aren't they? They always seem to be nearly there. And
they've made a lot of progress if you consider since where they were before Postecoglou joined. I mean,
yes, we're talking about...
and they do play risky football. We know that. By his own admission, he likes to play high attacking, high line, which, for the winning goal, they got caught out again, didn't they? Which they will do. But I think they're going in the right direction. I think their recruitment, by and large, has been pretty good over the last 18 months or so.
Their 2 away games, what have they been? Leicester and Newcastle had a lot of the play, certainly a lot of the play second half today. As I said, I thought they were really poor in forward positions. They lacked that killer instinct in front of goal, and they lacked that little bit of know-how when those balls were going into the box, and when they were dominating Newcastle, which was for large parts. That would be a little bit of a worry for me in terms of the away games. And as you say, I know they've lost Solanke in the last couple of games, but in terms of front and goal today, I thought they were poor.
It'll be very important that Solanke fits in and starts scoring when he gets fit again and playing. A quick word before we have a break on the other game played today, Chelsea against Palace. Micah, the last couple of weeks we talked about Eze, didn't we? That he was in your fantasy team, and he was so unfortunate not to score in both those games. And you said that you think, I'm going to take him out now. And he scored. Did you take him out, Micah? That's what everybody wants to know.
Yes, I took him out.
Oh dear.
And it spoilt my afternoon. Oh, honest to God.
He got 3 bonus points as well, Micah.
Don't say that. Has he really? I daren't look.
Yeah. He did, confirmed, says Harry. 10 points. See, you've talked yourself out of 10 points.
I can't believe it, I just can't. I was playing with it for about 2 hours. I had him in my team. I took him out. I had him in my team. I had 2 free transfers, so I was doing a bit of wiggle room and all that sort of stuff. I sent my team to Harry, one of the producers. If you're a regular listener or viewer of this show, you will know who Harry is by now. And he said, "Oh, that's a strong team. That's a strong team." So he sort of sucked me in a little bit as well. I should have just stuck with my gut. Initially, I wanted to give him 1 more week. You know what I mean? And then international break, I'll have 3 transfers. I can do some jingling around. But no, I took him out and I'm devastated.
Obviously, we didn't see that game because it was on at the same time as the Tottenham one and wasn't televised. But another assist for Cole Palmer, a goal for Jackson. I saw it actually. It's a decent bit of football from Chelsea, but good for Palace to get off the mark.
Well, they've had chances, haven't they? And we said last week about them being really unlucky in front of goal. So it would have been a long 2 weeks for them going into international break without having anything.
Let's discuss the Saturday fixtures. Neither of you were on Match of the Day yesterday. You were at a wedding, Al, so I'd rather suspect you didn't see.
I managed to watch the lots of the Everton game. My God, oh my word!
Oh, that's a good place to start, actually. I mean, as a former Evertonian, I felt for them yesterday. I mean, they were really good, actually, for 80-odd minutes. I mean, they were dominant. Even Iraola said after the game when I interviewed him that he said Everton were the better team. We just weren't at it. We weren't playing like I expected us to play. We were playing into Everton's hands. Everton played really well. And then they capitulated.
We've said it before, haven't we, guys? Haven't we, about how many times does a goal change a game?
Incredible.
I mean, for they were 2-0 up in the 87th minute, and you think, here we go, and then they get one, and then all of a sudden, a little bit of edginess and nerviness from the crowd, and then that seeps down to the pitch and the players, and then before you know it, you're 3-2 down. You think, what the hell has gone on? I mean, I mentioned before the break about Palace going into the international break without a point, but great for them that they got one. I mean, can you imagine how Everton are feeling? The difference between getting a good win, 2-0 or so, and then going into the international break, you come back with fresh hope. But that psychologically, that's pretty devastating, isn't it, for all the people at Everton, the fans as well as the players and the management?
Yeah, I think it'll give them some encouragement that they were scoring goals, though, and they played well. So you can take the positives from that. And did you not do a stat on Match of the Day yesterday, Gary, that Bournemouth didn't have a shot on target until the 86th minute? That is ridiculous. So you've pretty much done your job. And you know, when the coaches, when you're younger, always drill into you, concentration. And I never really understood what that meant until, because you always concentrated on the game.
Micah.
But in terms of always concentrating on the game, aren't you? You always concentrate. But he always used to say, just no. There's the goals that can change games. There's little moments. If you don't concentrate like fully for a split second, you can end up winning or losing a game. And unfortunately for Everton, that was the difference. And after they sort of conceded the first one, it was a bit nervy, wasn't they? They got in midfield too easy. They got wide too easy, did Bournemouth. They didn't defend crosses. And I've been in that situation. It's difficult to sort of get out of that rut when you're in there. But as a neutral, I was a bit devastated for Everton.
Yeah. The momentum shift was extraordinary. But what a comeback from Bournemouth, and well done to them. Arsenal dropped their first points of the season. The big talking point there was obviously the Declan Rice red card. They were ahead at the time. It was second yellow, of course. The first yellow was a definite yellow. It's one of those that by the letter of the law, you could probably argue that it might be a yellow card. But, I mean, he flicked the ball about a foot. The ball was actually rolling at the time anyway, so did he stop him taking a free kick in that sense? Well, technically he couldn't take one if the ball was rolling. I mean, I just think a little bit of common sense in those things, really, sometimes. And I know referees will point out to the letter of the law and they can make an argument for that. But I don't know. I just think it's another sign that football's kind of lost its mind a little bit for me to get a second yellow and a red card for that.
Yeah, I totally get and understand the argument. And do we want to see? No, not really.
No, we don't.
Is it the law? Yes. Were the players told about that in pre-season? They were sat down and warned? Yes.
Declan Rice said that he didn't actually try and flick the ball away. He barely touched it, to be honest. But
honestly, yeah. I feel completely different to the way you guys feel. I think that was one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. Because, okay, we've all
I'm
been
not disagreeing with you, Micah. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I think we're saying by let everyone know. Okay, first point, Pedro kicked the ball away. It kicked the ball away.
Yeah, but
he didn't get a yellow card.
The ball was already off the pitch.
It doesn't matter. That could be seen.
There's a ball on the sideline, which doesn't matter if you kick the ball when the ball's off the pitch. If you kick it into the top row of the stand, it doesn't matter because there's a 5 yards away.
Yeah, but Arteta was about to get the ball and throw it to it. It looked like he was going to get it ball and throw it to his player. That's what it looked like to me. I'm not being biased here. I'm being totally neutral to whatever. It kicks the ball away. So in my mind, I think that's probably time wasting. That's the first point. The second point is Veltman. Okay, I've played in that position a lot of the time. First of all, he's going to argue that he's trying to play a quick free kick.
That's a nonsense.
So, one, if you're going to play a quick free kick, you do not throw the ball 5 yards in front of you. You put your hand on the ball and then you pass it or whatever you want to do. And you don't take a quick free kick there anyway because you wait for your team to be set. So then he throws the ball. It goes like he's going to kick it. Get the reverse angle of actually the game. There's nobody in the space where he's about to kick it anyway. The ball comes, Declan Rice. Now, okay, I couldn't understand if Declan Rice moved towards the ball and kicked the ball away. He's running back, he sees the ball, and he just gives it a little. That's just a natural reaction. So yes, the argument from the other side of it, well, you shouldn't touch the ball, you can't kick the ball. But I don't even think he kicked it away. I just think he just when the ball comes to you, be on the pitch, and the ball's near you, and he just try to kick, stop it or kick it to, or stop the ball to wherever it's going. It's gone out, and then it's kicked out of him, and you could argue it could be a red card. So when I first saw the incident, I was thinking, he's going to get sent off here, Veltman. And slowed it down, and you slow everything down. There's a little nick on it, but there's no way in history that should be a second yellow card. I can't get on board with that. Or if that's a yellow card, then football has officially gone. Yeah, it's official. You can't give a yellow card for that. I'm
with you, Mike. I totally agree. It's nuts.
Welbeck if Pedro was running into the channel and it actually looked like he was going to hit him and he was in and Arsenal were sleeping, I would say 100% because he's tried to stop. But the game was it was one of the moments where Brighton needed a breather. It wasn't a time for a quick free kick in the game anyway. So I just think you put all them things together. If you have an ounce of common sense, then you would not give a yellow card for that.
I have to agree. And also, of course, when you're saying even if he was trying to take a quick free kick, the ball was still rolling. You can't hit a rolling ball on a free kick. We know that.
Are they allowed to referee with any common sense? That's all I would say to you. Is that?
Which in the old days they used to. Obviously now there's more laws in football now than there is in golf. It's like everything has a set thing, and it was a shared point in the end anyway. Raheem Sterling was an interesting one, joined because we talked about his situation. That's got to be a good move for Raheem. He'll be delighted with that, and he can probably help, Arsenal.
Yeah, I think it's a really good move for him. I think it was important that he got out and played. It would have been horrible for him to sit there and rot in the stiffs and maybe not even see first team football, never mind train or whatever with them. So I think it was really important for him to get out, and with his experience and his know-how, he could be valuable to Arsenal.
I criticised for the way Sterling came out with that statement. I didn't agree with it at all, but maybe it was a masterclass in thinking, okay, well, he's available, he's going to be training with the kids. He probably had 2 or 3 clubs sort of ring up. He let everyone know what his position was, and he managed to get out the door in the end. So good luck to him. I really hope he can get back to a level where, it was younger when he was scoring loads of goals for Man City. Maybe not that level, but just have an impact, because he's not going to start.
He's still only 29. I know he seems like he's been around forever. You think he's a veteran well into his 30s, but he's still only 29. So he'll have a lot to offer, Raheem. And I think, whether he'll play consistently, it remains to be seen. But, he's been a terrific player for well over a decade now.
The one thing he has more than anyone is the timing of his runs. He will get more chances in it. So if you look at Martinelli, very good dribbler. If you look at Trossard, really good finisher, can change a game with his composure in front of goal. But Raheem has got pace, and he can run it behind, and the timing of his runs are really good. So I think it could be a really good signing, as long as he buys into everything that Arteta wants to do.
Yeah. Speaking of timing your runs, certain Erling Haaland, I think we might have mentioned him occasionally on the pod over the last year or so on this show. I mean, I thought yesterday was his movement and it just shows you the dangers of playing a fairly high line against Manchester City, which it's nice to see a team not just sitting and defending the whole game, but boy oh boy, I mean when he goes and makes those runs behind, I mean that is difficult to defend. He times them so perfectly. And the way he gets the ball, he tries to shift it onto his left foot, which on his left foot, he's such a fabulous finisher. You mentioned masterclass about Raheem. This was a masterclass in centre forward play, Alan.
Oh, I mean, his you know what we know he's a great finisher. We've spoke about him so many times, and we'll continue to speak about him because that's what. But his balance, his balance to be able to quickly shift the power to where he wants to put it, and the way he opens everything up, and that isn't easy. The touch with his right foot to put it onto his left foot, to the one that he put high in net was sublime.
3 completely different finishes, all in similar positions in terms of his stance and on that left foot. I love a little dinky finish as well for the hat-trick. I love those.
I really like the Joe Hart's analysis on it.
Yeah, from a keeper's perspective.
From a keeper, but just he was saying it from a keeper's point of view, but it actually showed you what Haaland was trying to do at the same time. So with his body shape, like Alan's just mentioned there, the one where you go in the corner, the one where you not just smash it, but he hit it really hard, really good technique, and then the last one, like you said, the movement and the way he sort of always wants to go onto his left foot. It was just,
I tell you what, though, we've said it so many times, haven't we? Is that it doesn't half help when you're playing with world-class players who have got the ability to rip teams apart and create so many chances for you. I mean, it's a perfect match playing in that team. He's incredible. His manager's incredible, and some of the players that are creating these chances are just fantastic as well.
Yeah, absolutely superb. Joe, also, at the end of it, I said to him, is there anything in those circumstances that a keeper can do to give himself a better chance? And he went, no. Because I think the keepers were in good positions. There was nothing. They didn't, they were in good spots. But if the finishing's spot on, you've got no chance as a keeper.
No, you can't really, can you? Because the goal's so massive, and even the keepers have to get to a certain position, which is a good goalkeeping position for them. But if you guys are strikers, if you put the ball hard and low in the opposite side of the corner, it's impossible for the keeper to get there. So on this form, he looks fresh, he looks hungry, he looks really fit as well.
He certainly does. Manchester City, as we know, will take some stopping. Quick word, and we'll group them together, the three clubs that were promoted from the Championship last season. Ipswich got their first point. It's always important to get off and running. Southampton yet to get a point. Leicester have only got 1 point, which are slightly fortuitous against Tottenham. Slightly worried as a Leicester fan. They bought a few players in the market, but not really the players I think that probably needed. I think most Leicester fans are slightly baffled as to why Mavadidi's not getting much of a look in on the left-hand side. He was brilliant in the Championship, and actually both times he's come on in the games this season, he's made a real difference. So hopefully he'll get a start. But it's tough for the promoted team.
Well, we all said it in our predictions in terms of what's happened or going to happen. It's going to be really tough for them, and it'll be an incredible achievement if one of them were to stay up. I've not seen anything to suggest that it won't be a hard season. It will. I mean, Southampton we've seen in terms of the going to have problems in front of goal. They've gone out and spent a few quid on a really good goalkeeper in Ramsdale. So, it's going to be it's tough for them. That's all we can say. There's no surprise what we've seen. Is there, Micah?
No, I really like Hutchinson, the winger for Ipswich. He looks lively. Schmodix as well got his goal against Man City. Liam Delap, who's also at Manchester City as a youngster, scored a really good goal. Good size of him as well. I really like Greaves for Ipswich as well. I think I remember seeing him play in that Hull, if I remember correctly. He throws his body in front of a load of things. I quite like him. Southampton, I still think they're making Championship mistakes where they're still playing out too much and they're getting punished.
He's very much said that is his way of playing. And,
well, it got company to Bayern Munich, didn't it? So
about to say it's got very, very similar vibes to what happened to Burnley last season.
It'll be interesting to follow that. I want to finish on. I don't want to finish on a sad note, but it is a sad note. The passing away of Sol Bamba at just 39 years old. He overcame non-Hodgkin lymphoma in 2021 during his playing days at Cardiff. He'd been working at Turkish club Adanspor as a technical director when the news was announced on Saturday. He was at Leicester for a while under Sven-Göran Eriksson. In 2011, he was at Dunfermline Hibs. He played a key role in Cardiff's promotion to the top flight in 2017. He was a firm fans' favourite at the club. In 2022, whilst at Middlesbrough, he scored in remember that penalty in a FA Cup shootout victory over Manchester United at Old Trafford. Desperately sad news.
It was a big surprise. I mean, I think I knew that he'd had his health struggles, but I certainly wasn't aware of anything that could be imminent, But it was a big shock when it came through yesterday.
Yeah, condolences to the family and all his friends, because it's a big loss. It's always strange. It seems so young to go, and everyone always talks about life and how much you have to enjoy it because you just never know. Sad day for him and his family, and certainly for football too.
Yeah, absolutely. We send our condolences. That's it for this episode of The Rest is Football. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Have a great week, everyone.